Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Aaron St. Denis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Okay, the most important question to start with here is, Jeremy, with switching back to the other show title, is the intro easier on your ears?
I turned my shit down fully expecting blaring A-Team
No,
Rat Pack intro.
nice,
it was soothing. Massage my eardrums on that one. So
the nice soothing tones of Breaking Bad. So
that's it.
Nice. All right, we are here with NFL Week 5 waiver wire. It is probably not going to be a long show because it's not a long waiver wire. I got Jeremy and Jesse with me to help find our way through what is not exciting. We've got my column loaded up from theleaguewinners.com, and as we go through it, you will notice that a lot of the guys who were on this last week are on it again this week with just a different start percentage because we only got maybe one or two new options, and the options that were there last week are still kind of just left there. So I guess let's get into it at quarterback. I think for the second week in a row, the obvious prize at quarterback, if he is available in any of your leagues, is C.J. Stroud. Some of the trades I've turned down this week for Stroud are ridiculous. Dak, Richardson, I've got all sorts, not Richardson, Dak, Fields, all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
So
makes sense, right? He's been incredible. He's been everything you could have asked for from a rookie quarterback. He's on pace for well over 5,000 yards his rookie year, which is going to smash Andrew Luck's record. He's doing stuff rookies just don't do. So this is the guy everybody should be talking about. I don't know why he's below 50%. It still boggles my mind.
Because it's Houston, and everyone's assuming they're going to fall on their face, and this is a mirage, which is very possible.
Mm-hmm. But they've been good. Slowski or whatever his name has been pretty good offensive coordinator for them. So he's setting him up, and he's through that San Francisco scheme. So it all makes sense why it's working out for them.
Yeah, and the thing that's crazy about Stroud too is he has, I was looking this up for a column writing today, 37 pass attempts. He's averaging 37 pass attempts per game, which is insane. He's the third in the NFL in pass attempts. So that's unheard of volume for a rookie QB. It makes tons of sense because that Houston defense isn't stopping anybody. So why won't this continue, especially next week against Atlanta? So yeah, pick him up and plug him in immediately.
Yep, 47% rostership. I have 25 as the bid there. It's kind of conservative. It all depends. If he's not going to be available in your super flex league, but if he is, drop the bank on him. One QB league, you probably don't need to go after him. That's why it's always kind of tough to value a quarterback. If you're in a one QB league and you've lost your quarterback, I don't even know if you'd have to put 25 on him in a single QB. But it's a case of, if he's on the waiver wire and the other options are some of the lower guys, if you don't want to risk it, just drop the money because he'll be worth it. Some of the other options we have for shallow leagues. So shallow leagues, I have more than 70% owned. Medium is 50 to 70. Deeper leagues are 25 to 50, and dart throws are less than 25. So for shallow leagues, I've got Geno, Jordan Love, and Brock Purdy. Medium leagues, we've still got Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, and Matt Stafford being somewhere in the 50 to 70 range. Daniel Jones is the most highest rostered by about 12%. Deeper league option is Kyler. It's not really a great option. I don't know when he's coming back, but it's kind of a stash at this point. In the dart throws, we have Baker, Sam Howell, who have both kind of looked half decent. Bryce Young, who has not looked half decent. Josh Dobbs, who's been good. Zach Wilson, who looked a lot better last week and gets a great matchup this week. And Ryan Tannehill. You guys can see that, right? Do I need to make it bigger?
No.
Yeah,
a little bit bigger.
Jumps out at you?
Old man struggling to see it.
I have the article picked up right next to us when you're talking, so it's just easier for me to read that way. But yeah, I think Kyler's the most interesting of those guys. I guess they're saying around week 8 he might come back. So if you want to hold him, I get it. It's just if you miss out on Stroud and you're dealing with what we saw Daniel Jones last night with no offensive line, it's a disaster, right? And you're stuck with Baker or Howell and Young. These guys, they have such low floor sometimes. It's just not good. So you kind of have to prioritize him. Like, I get why you have him at $25. Like,
the amazing part is he's only 47% rostered, and even if of the shallow league guys, I think I'd take him over Gino, who's 70. Like, I don't think there's anyone in any of, like, what's this, 1, 2, 3, like 12 guys I've listed here. I think I think Stroud, even at 47%, is the guy I'd take over anyone on here. And that's why he is the title graphic. Is there anyone out of these options that you would go with over Stroud?
Like, I think
over Stroud, no.
Well, like, I think you can make a case for Purdy just because he's such a high floor on that offense. Like, you're not gonna have any like dud games, right?
Yeah, I don't think he has a ceiling. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like, I'm curious with Stroud because the last 2 weeks he's only thrown 30 passes. What his actual ceiling is, because that passing rate has come down a lot because they just haven't had to pass. Like, they dominated Pittsburgh, right? So if their defense is moving forward really good, I question what his ceiling is. But like, he's been incredible. He's the guy you want. He has like everything you want from him at the moment.
Yeah, the guy that I want, and not over Stroud, but my number 2, and there's actually 2 guys, but it's Stafford, and then it's probably Dobbs. But I'm not going to really pound the table for Dobbs, although he's looked great. But Stafford with, Cooper Kupp coming back, hopefully sooner rather than later. They activated him, right? And then he sees Philly, he sees Arizona, and he sees Pittsburgh, all of whom have been pretty poor as pass defenses. I think Stafford has looked excellent, and he's working with kind of these talents at wide receiver that came out of nowhere for us because it's Sean McVay, because it's Matt Stafford. So I'll take my shot on him, and I think you can put in a sneaky bid of something much lower, like 9 to 11% range, and probably get him pretty easily. And he'll work out for you for a couple weeks.
I had 2 questions. You answered one of them. I was going to say they're both lower budget bid guys, like probably 5% is what I was thinking, but you answered that. My other question is, have we seen the reports? Do we know Stafford's healthy? He left that game with an injury, didn't he? I got the impression he was going to miss some time. That was the only thing I'd like.
So Sleeper said he has a hip bruise, but he's expected to play week 5. So like,
so it's not as bad.
I think he basically said, like, screw it, I'm playing, don't worry about it, because like Stafford's as tough as it gets, right? So he's got to be a pretty serious injury for him to come out.
All right, running backs. We have, it looks like the crown jewel this week is Jaleel McLaughlin, which could be fool's gold because Javonte Williams, from everything I've heard, it's just a hip flexor and he'll be back. I still have McLaughlin as the number 1. $20 bid, which is more than Stroud. Doesn't mean I like him more than Stroud. It just means I'm a lot more aggressive with my fab on running back than I am on any other position. So you got to go out and get your guy if this is who you believe in. Shallow leagues, I've got Khalil Herbert and Tyler Algier still in the 70s. Going opposite ways. Herbert looks like he's increasing. Algier looks like he's fading away. Medium leagues, we've got some probably stash options here. Charbonnet, Jalen Warren, Roschon. Deeper leagues, we've got Jerick McKinnon. If you want injury stash, IR stash, Jeff Wilson. Tyjae Spears and Tank Bigsby could be great if they start to get more volume. And some desperation guys here where you're hoping for a touchdown. CEH, Latavius Murray, and Rico Dowdle. Where do you guys want to start? McLaughlin?
Yeah, you can take it.
Yeah, I mean, fine. Yeah, I mean, look,
fine.
That Denver Broncos offense isn't really exciting. No running back has really looked great there, except for McLaughlin, who looked really good last week. They were talking him up all in the offseason, so if he took over this job, I don't think anyone would really be surprised. I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but who knows? We could have let's see if I can get this pronunciation right. Is it Devon or Devon or Devon Achan? So we had him kind of blow up and really just assume that role. Could McLaughlin be next? It's possible, but I'm not really expecting that. But he's by far the best one. And for me, I'm always looking for that value. So the other guy I want to talk about, and you have him wrong on your sheet there, is not in Baltimore anymore. He's in Buffalo. Latavius Murray. And Murray really is the guy that is just seeing the looks. He's starting to get a little bit more volume. We know James Cook needs a number 2 there, and we know that Buffalo is going to be in scoring position a lot. He looked really good last week, but he always looked really good. And I mean, really good is relative because he's 34 years old. He looks really good enough to score you 10 fantasy points and be a decent flex option for you. So, I like McLaughlin enough, but I'm really kind of looking at Murray, for a couple of dollars fab bid, and hopefully you can flex him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, he has some appeal. Like, if you need someone, you could just plug and play. Like, he's gonna find stuff into the end zone quite a few times that offense. But the guys like I'm targeting are basically the stash and injury options. And this is Tajay Spears. Like, he's the guy that jumps out. He's been by far the best option Tennessee's had all season. And that includes Derrick Henry. So if Henry goes down, like, Spears is just gonna vault in value just because he will be the offense. And then it's really like who you want to chase. Like, you could go with Charbonnet. You go Roschon, Khalil Herbert. These guys are pretty game script dependent, and we saw last week for Chicago. Khalil Herbert was the guy, and they just trusted him because they were winning, so they went with that. On the flip side, if they're losing, they're going to turn to Roschon. So it's kind of a weird situation. And then Jeff Wilson, like, you want a piece of that Miami backfield. So if Mostert's injured or Achan's injured, like, Wilson comes in, like, there's serious value for him. So he would be the other guy of these options that I would.
What did you originally start with, Jeremy? What was my mistake?
Latavius, I think you had him on. Oh, maybe I misread it.
It says Baltimore for his name instead of Buffalo.
No, it says Buffalo. There you go. So, my bad. I wasn't trying to call you out.
It wasn't your bad. I updated it live in the middle of the show while you were talking. I went in and edited the article. You didn't see me hit refresh. It did say Baltimore. You know what the funny part was? It wasn't even meant to be Latavius Murray on Baltimore. It was meant to be Melvin Gordon on Baltimore. That's what the dart throw was. Latavius Murray was supposed to be up a tier, but.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Like, what are we thinking about Baltimore, right? Like, Justice Hill is potentially still out there or could be dropped, right? In this round of waiver pickups. Are you going after Hill? Are you chasing Gordon? Are you completely staying away? Like, what's the plan?
I'm avoiding the whole thing.
Yeah, if I'm targeting a guy out of those, besides Gus, because Gus is one of the best like runners of the football, like in career averages, he's incredible. But like, just stash Keaton Mitchell. Like, you can probably do this in dynasty leagues too. Like, he's really cheap. He's the guy that got hyped up. He's tiny though, so he's small. So that's the issue for him. But he's explosive. Like, yeah, like he's just a small dude. But
it's of those guys, matchup this week. But yeah. I still have them on my avoid list. I just want no part of it.
Yeah,
I get it.
All right, we've got some wide receivers here. The guy I've liked all offseason. I just wasn't sure if he could ever stay healthy. Arizona receiver Michael Wilson. I put $10. I don't know. That's probably a little aggressive. It's a receiver. It could just as easily go back to Hollywood next week. I like him. I mean, obviously, a lot of the production was on the 2 touchdowns. Going down here, we've got shallow options. Sutton, Tank Dell, Deontay Johnson, who you can probably stash, and Jahan Dotson, all in the 70s. Medium leagues, we've got JSN, Joshua Palmer, Tutu Atwell, and Romeo Dobbs. For deeper leagues, we have Shaheed, Quentin Johnston, Marvin Mims, and Rashee Rice. Those are 2 of my favorites there, Mims and Rice. And the dart throws, we have one of my other favorites in Jaden Reed, although it's slightly less appealing with Watson back. Jalen Hyatt, DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo, and Braxton Berrios. Thoughts on any of those guys?
I got to dip out for a minute, guys. I'll be back.
Oh, you're fine. So I like a few of the guys. I like a few of the guys you mentioned. Particularly, obviously, that 70% range. If you get any of those guys, like, you're getting production. Dotson, the ones that worries me out of that group. But if we drop down to like the 50th range, I like Dubs a lot. He's been good. He's been better than Reed. He's getting more targets. He's playing. So that's the thing. The thing that sucks about JSN is Quentin Johnston. You don't know when that role is officially going to change for them. Like, we saw how terrible JSN just looks doing what they're doing with him. So it's kind of just, you're stashing him. You're not going to play him. You get down to like Shaheed and Mims. They're fun, but it's also the same situation. Like, they're clearly the third guy, so they need something to change for them. But like efficiency, right? So you chase that. With the Carolina situation, I see Chark and I see Mingo. The guy who actually led them in targets last week was Terrace Marshall. So like, I'll take a flyer on Terrace Marshall for basically nothing and see if it works out, because you want to chase guys that are getting targets. So like, for basically, I think he's like 1% rostered. Like, I'll throw a flyer on him and see how it shakes out.
What did you say about Mims?
I just said he's basically a wide receiver 3. Like, and the situation needs to improve for him to be like a guy you can trust each week.
Yeah.
Thoughts,
I agree with that. they signed Traquan today to the practice squad. I'm not worried about it, but it's just you just hear these things, and Peyton's bringing in his guys, and you're like, why? What are we doing? Like, just play Mims more, right? Like what Denver is the Saints. Issue here, right? like what? Why? And so it doesn't really concern me talent-wise, but it concerns me coach-wise. And Russell Wilson is still doing Russell Wilson things, and you just don't know week to week what the consistency issue is. So Mims still scares me, but I like him as a stash. You just hope he sees more work. But then I'm also, I agree with you with Wilson. I think you got to go out and get him. He's seeing the volume, he's seeing the work. It paid off last week. He's going to be boom or bust with that offense and with Dobbs, but he could develop into kind of a late season kind of consistent flex guy. I think that's what you're hoping for, and so I really like him as well. And the one that interests me, I'm not sure if he's on your list there, Aaron, I assume he probably is, but he's got to be out there, right? Unless guys are stashing him. Is Jameson Williams?
No, he was like 87% rostered. That's why he didn't make the list.
Okay. I am surprised by that, but if he's there, I'm going to go get him and take a flyer. But as far as the Cortland Sutton, 77%, that doesn't make any sense to me. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, look, I don't want any part of the Los Angeles guys, right? Palmer's okay. But really, I just kind of want to stay away. Eckler's going to be back, so I really don't see that happening. And then, Curtis Samuel, he's been great, but, again, I feel like that's going to blow up in your face. Dotson's got to be more involved. So most of these guys, they can stay there. Like you said earlier, Aaron, I'm just going to spend my money on the Arby's.
It's funny you mentioned Jameson Williams. He's 16% rostered on ESPN. So, depending on which app you're on, you'll see those percentages change, right?
Yeah,
but ESPN people are just out on him. So you can get this question.
Yeah, Yahoo is apparently in on him. It's funny. Well, keep in mind, I did this after it was announced he was coming back. But even having said that, okay, so the day it was announced that his suspension had been reduced, it screwed me because the game had already been played, so he couldn't be added last week. So I went to add him in a bunch of my leagues. I have something like 32 leagues on Sleeper. He was available in one. So before that announcement even came out, he was only available in one of my 32 Sleeper leagues. Let me see if that has changed. I'm trying to get over here, but I think
I don't think he's available in any of my Sleeper leagues, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's one of those.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say he's one of those guys where you were drafting him, but what is he now? So he's eligible now to come back. So he was looking at a 6-game suspension, and he's one of those guys where because he's unproven, because there was kind of negative buzz about him in the offseason, because he was missing 6 games, you probably didn't want to draft him where he was going, but somebody did, right? And so it's just kind of did they drop him in the meantime, and is he worth it? I think at this point, you don't want him as a 9th round draft pick, but for a couple of fab, if you can sneak him on the end of your bench and see if he does anything, I'm willing to take that shot.
He's 82 on Yahoo.
Weird. It's so strange, the difference in apps.
What's up, Ryan? How's it going? I just seen your comment now. Thanks, Jeremy. I had seen you had to go.
All good.
I'm on the other screen at my article trying to control everything and did not see your comment. So, for me at the receiver position, like I said, though, this is why I don't spend any money on receiver. I don't mind Sutton. I don't mind Dell. There's a whole lot of players I like here, but this is a case of if any of these guys are on my waiver wire, I'm probably putting in 5 or 10% bids on all of them, and I'm just going to take whoever falls to me. Like, if you told me Michael Wilson, JSN, Quentin Johnston, Mims, Rashee Rice, Reed, Mingo, if you told me next week any of them were going to be a breakout and are a second half league winner, I couldn't guess which one it was with any accuracy. It could just as easily be Jonathan Mingo as it could be, Tank Dell. So it's a case where there's no definitive number one for me. So just shoot it wherever.
Yeah, it's really rare to get a Puka on the waiver wire from wide receiver, opposed to running back where that seems to happen a lot more.
But it's interesting
how does that work out? How many times do we spend all our money on a receiver, and then it's like 2 or 3 good games, and then it's like, oh yeah, he's on waivers by week 6. It never
you need like the talent and the situation, and you usually don't have both working on your favorite wide receiver. So it's usually the situation or it's a talent like JSN, and they're just behind 2 really good wide receivers. So like you need that injury or something.
Yeah, maybe Rashee Rice is kind of the one guy who has that combination of both. I don't know if he's going to get the usage. It'd be nice to see it kind of ramped up a little bit more, but there's just so many guys in the rotation there. But I'd take a shot on him and stash him.
That's the guy I'm targeting too. His over the last 3 weeks, I think it's something like his usage has doubled each of the last 3 weeks. He's the guy I'm targeting there. Like off this list, he's the guy I'm most going for. I think I have the most waiver claims in on him this week, actually. So
we got a question in the comments.
We have a question.
It's actually an interesting question.
Hey guys, I have a question about trades. I need to do some trades. Ever since I lost Chubb, I'm on a 2-game losing streak. We're only lost by 6 points in week 3, and last week only by 4. Here's my team. After I post this, I will ask the trade question.
Yep.
All right?
Okay. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep Ray, you keep typing. I'm going to scroll down and start with tight ends. You guys let me know when he posts this in there, and I'm just going to summarize tight ends. Cole Kmet. I got a soft spot for Kmet. You'd think I'd stop doing this. He's my guy every offseason. It never works out for me. Last year, he put an offer in September, so maybe I'm just happy that he produced. Cole Kmet is my number 1 tight end. Shallow leagues, we got Higbee and Henry. Medium leagues, Kmet there. Njoku, Kincaid, and Ferguson. Deeper leagues, Chig, Musgrave, Schultz, and Ertz. Dart throws, that's not supposed to be Henry. That is supposed to be what am I doing here? That's supposed to be Mike Gesicki. I'm just having a stroke. Donald Parham, Logan Thomas, and Tyler Conklin. You guys discuss what you think while I go in and update, because that's going to drive my OCD nuts that I have that wrong on the article.
So I'm going back to
the same.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm the same with Cole Kmet. I mean, I just can't seem to quit him. The problem is the Chicago's been terrible.
Brokeback Mountain.
I just can't quit you.
Don't never seen that again.
Never seen that movie. But I will say that Cole Kmet is God. He's just the guy that I want to see continue to produce because he's got the talent. He should theoretically have the situation, but he doesn't. I feel like this Denver game is a mirage. I'm a Justin Fields apologist, but I'm not crowning him after what he did last week. Yeah, it was better, but it was better against the worst defense in the league. So, Kmet, I'm not dropping the bag on him. I'll throw a few fab and hope I get him. But if somebody's willing to pay up, forget it. The guy that I like on this list, and I assume he's on this list. Yeah, there he is. There's 2 guys in that medium league option next to Kmet. It's Kincaid. Just to get a piece of that offense, and hopefully the usage continues to improve, even though Knox is still a concern there. And Jake Ferguson, who, look, we know Dak hyper targets the tight end, even if he's not supposed to. Ferguson had a great game. He's going to be a boom bust option, but who isn't at tight end? And he's going to be a guy who's able to put up solid points in the tight end slot more often than not. So, I'll throw a few dollars of fab at these guys, and hopefully I get Kmet. But if I get Ferguson or Kincaid, I'll be fine.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with those guys. The other guy's Musgrave. It's the same thing where it's like talent situation, right? He's been so close. He had the concussion, so his game stopped easily. Like he had 1 catch and that was it. Otherwise, he would have had a good game. But yeah, he's playing this week. So if you can't get those 2 guys with Kincaid, who finally overtook him in routes run and snaps and all that, they started integrating him more. So we will see that because he's talented first round tight end. They want to involve him. The offense needs him. So yeah, if you can get Kincaid, absolutely get Kincaid while you can. Ferguson, he's a great option too because Dak loves his tight ends. But yeah, Musgrave is the other guy for me. So one of those 3, I'd be happy with any of those.
Kmet, Fergalicious, and Musgrave, I think are my 3 options too. I prefer Kmet and Fergie by a whole lot more. I'm not really thrilled with what are you laughing about?
Fergie,
sorry. Logan Thomas has been sneaky useful. I mean, you feel like you're always living on borrowed time, but
he's been solid.
Ray, you still there? You want to type what your question or your team was in that chat before
I'll just touch on that. So, like, Ray, wherever your team has a strength, trade from that. So don't trade from your weakness. You obviously lost Chubb, so I'm assuming you need a running back, right? So find where you're strong.
Is this the same question that Thomas just tagged on Twitter for us? Because someone tagged us in a post asking a similar question, and I just answered saying exactly what you're saying. Assess your team, look for your strength and your weakness, and find someone who's opposite and make a deal with them. I don't think it's the same person now. I thought it was.
No, this is from somebody named Kelly. It says over 20% done offensive. What suggestions do you have to evaluate and adjust your team? But it's basically the same thing, right? Like where your team's strong. Oh, we got Ray's question.
Okay, all right, here we go. So he has QB's Jalen Hurts. That's not your weakness. Wide receiver, you have Olave, Metcalf, Watson. You don't look to be weak at wide receiver either. Running back, you have Barkley, Montgomery, Pierce, Moss. So you're probably a little banged up and underperforming. You might need some help there. Tight end, you're steady. Kicker, you're awesome. And I believe your defense were Eagles, Ravens. So I would say your running back depth is what you need to work on, but that's probably what everyone's working on. All right, so before we get into – would you guys agree running back's probably where he needs to work on?
Yeah, I'm going to package one of his wide receivers with those running backs besides Saquon. Don't worry about Saquon. So, like Montgomery or Pierce,
Green Bay
value.
Wide receiver.
Package Watson or Kirk and upgrade. You have this offer is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
My first trade is Saquon, Watson, and Kirk for Swift and Adams. This person's low on running backs.
Yeah.
I don't like this because I think you're trading away what you need to acquire. You're getting stronger at receiver here, and I think you need to be getting stronger at running back, not weaker. I like Adams, but I'm not sure I want to give away Watson and Kirk to go to Adams, and I don't like the downgrade from Saquon to Swift, so I pass on this one. I get Saquon.
His next comment.
I
throw up his next comment though. That's interesting, right? Because I'm not sure if we have one or two flexes here. But so if you're putting Adams as, let's just call him wide receiver 1, then you have Olave, Metcalf, and then, Dobbs or Myers to kind of play with in the flex. And then you have Swift, Monty, Pierce as your, I assume there's 2 RBs, as you're rotating those 3 in. It's not terrible, but I agree with you. That's don't
a risky
want to
running back situation.
So you're getting stronger at wide receiver because if you're packaging them into Adams, like you're getting an elite top 5 wide receiver, like that's a huge upgrade. The issue is Saquon to Swift. Swift's been good, but like his PPR points and stuff, it's pretty limited. Like he's not balling out except for the 1 game, so he needs touchdowns to really be a high end running back compared to Barkley. So that's kind of the issue. You have to decide if you want to go the 0 RB format with it, but you're rolling with Swift and Monty each week. It's just kind of it's risky.
But you're weakening your already weakest position, and you're essentially also trading away the depth at your strongest position to basically put all your eggs in the Devontae Adams, DeAndre Swift basket. I don't make the deal. I'd rather do the opposite. I'd rather package together some of these receivers and. Who else did he have here? Pierce.
Well, you got Myers.
Sell high on Montgomery and sell them for a high-end running back. Buy low on Jonathan Taylor coming back or something. I'm out on that.
Like I'm
don't sell high.
Fine doing the wide receiver deal separately. Like go get Adams because his points he's going to give in your lineup is way more impactful than those wide receivers are. So like and you have Jacoby you can do as like your wide receiver 3. Like you have the depth to do that at wide receiver. Oh. What?
But so all the more reason why you wouldn't want to acquire the extra receiver.
Yeah.
Standard.
So like,
fair.
I'm fine doing.
Yeah, you're not going to get rid of Saquon for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Saquon's too valuable in standard. It's just.
Yeah.
I would try to find a deal without him.
I package some receivers for a running back is what I would do.
And then maybe Pierce or maybe someone is. You're probably not going to get anything from us at this point, but maybe you do Pierce and one of the Green Bay guys, and you're not going to get a Swift level, but I don't know who's somebody in that range you can look for if you package Pierce and
do
Watson.
Not do this trade. Do not do this trade.
I need some help with the trade. Lamb and Chase, and I get Jefferson and DJ Moore.
Fuck no. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Do not do this trade.
I agree. Burrow is a concern, though, right? Like, what is going on? Look, they're going to figure it out. He's going to get healthy. It's going to happen. But I think we're certainly seeing some of what we saw last night with Daniel Jones, where he just has no time. That offensive line is crumbling. We're seeing some of that going on in Cincinnati right now. Burrow's being put on his ass many times a game, more often than he should be. And, he's hobbling around a little bit. It's just, it hasn't been good. It'll get better, but, how much better is the question.
You're upgrading one position and significantly downgrading another. Like, that's a massive drop from Chase or Lamb, whoever you view, to DJ Moore. Like, I just can't do that. Deal. Like, that hurts me.
It's true.
See, it's the DJ Moore part for me. Like, I'm looking at it. It's Justin Jefferson is an upgrade on Lamb by a little bit. It's not a huge upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Chase, I don't think is going to be great, but it's still DJ Moore's too far down. If you had told me this was Diggs or Adams, I think I can.
I'm smashing that.
AR like St. Brown, I can do that, but DJ Moore is just too far down.
If you're going to like the low end wide receiver 1 range, I'm fine with that. But you're going into like the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 range with that, and that's just a huge drop. That's the problem.
I like Eckler.
I wanted an RB
easily.
Yeah.
If you can get Eckler, if someone's worried about his, you're dealing with I have 2 of these guys on the same roster. So like if you're dealing with the injury, it's just basically the same situation here. Barkley should be back. Eckler should be back. You just have the bye week. So if someone's willing to sacrifice this week's bye week and give you Eckler, then yeah, go do that.
That's the benefit of Eckler, though. He's out this week. Well, He's injured this week. Better time to be injured is get your bye out of the way when he might not have played anyways. Yeah, so Barkley, if Barkley doesn't play, you're going to eat a week and still have to eat his bye week. So I think that just cements Eckler for me.
Yep.
So. All right. Unless these guys have any last comment here, I'll give them a few more seconds before we wrap it up. You guys got anything you need to promote to fill the time before we wrap it up?
We're doing all sorts of stuff on this channel. Like, we're going to do some more games. We're going to do a couple on Thursday, Friday. I got stuff on TikTok. We're going to do stuff with the league winners. Basically, just JMO5. You'll see all my content. Yes. The answer is yes. It's standard, which sucks. So that, like, nukes Waddle's value, right? So you're just getting yards. So that's, like, and I think Eckler and Saquon are a lot closer in standard, but it's just, like, I still prefer Eckler.
I'm still taking
I love Monty.
The Waddle side. I don't know.
Like
I'm not so high on Monty guy, man. Like he's not gonna have 3 touchdowns a game, but he could continue to score a touchdown a game, and if not, he's gonna be really close to that, right? I
want the Eckler side, and it's not even close for me.
If you say it's standard, it's really close for me.
Jalen Waddle.
Just take the time.
I'll go.
Dude, Waddle's struggled this year. Like, this is a sell high buy low moment. Like it is. You're getting Waddle. He'll do better. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
You are welcome. All right. Well, we wrapped it up there. That's our waiver wire preview for week 5 and added in some trade questions. That's always nice. Thanks for joining us, guys. For Aaron, Jesse, and Jeremy, this is NFL Week 5 waiver wire targets on the Mad Science Lab podcast. Tune in Thursday at 12 or 12:30. Haven't set the time yet, as we will do the NFC home game previews because the Thursday nighter is what? Washington, Chicago? Yeah. That's it. So tune in for that. We will start with those previews. It's going to be a great one. So thank you all for tuning in. Take care and have a great day.
Later, guys.